But the Crankcase Evac, if you use this, don't use mufflers. It says, I have muffler kind of Flowmasters. They don't really have baffles or anything to catch any of the oil, because what this Crankcase Evac does is it just is going to pull a vacuum in here instead of, you know, using your PCV valve, your primary crankcase vent. Instead of venting it and doing what it's normally doing, we're going to put a vacuum inside the crankcase up here, and that helps seat those rings and give you even more compression. So if you were to use this, don't use mufflers. But a couple tips on it. I ended up having to get some extra grommets. This kit did come with these ones, but you'll notice there is a bushing in here. So you'll be able to swap this out, but you'll have to, I don't think it came with two, I don't know why, but anyway, so you'll have to get these worked for me, and then we'll be able to put in this other side, and then we'll just have to weld in our other fittings, but we'll get back to that way later. All right, let's keep on rocking here. So we're gonna put this Crankcase Evac kit in, and I just got to weld these in. I got to move my O2 sensors, so I got a kit here with a few different things. And let me look here. It's hard to look through a camera. Okay, here we go. So this, we got another O2 bung. So this will come off, but we can weld these in. That's just a cap, obviously, but we can weld these in for our O2 sensors. And I got a couple of different fittings in here. But anyway, question for the viewers, anybody that watches this, I have some of these. Oh, these aren't it, right here. So these are the transmission. I'm doing a 4L60E video coming up, and I didn't rebuild it, my buddy Will did. But anyway, we got transmission out, and I'm getting ready to put it in, but before I do, I'm curious to think what the viewers would say. Should I get rid of these quick release? I really don't like these. I mean, they're nice when you just throw it together, but you got the steel lines and they rust and stuff gets up in there and they wiggle, and I'm thinking about going with those AN fittings. So, you know, if you know more than I do, which there's a lot of you out there that do, but just let me know. Is it just known you guys usually get rid of those old school lines and go with the you know, AN style fittings, and what kind of high pressure hose? But anyway, I'm gonna go have some made, but I figured somebody might be like, use this kind of hose, or, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of good ideas out there, so I was just curious to see what anybody would have to say about that. So I'm gonna go start, and I got the plasma cutter. I'm gonna go plasma cut out the old O2 sensor, and then I'm gonna put this, I think, in its place, and then move my O2 sensor upstream, but I'll show you in just a second. Well, there's a million ways to do this, and I've already changed my mind how I'm gonna do it. I apologize for the wind, and I got the plasma cutter on, if you hear that, because I'm obviously sitting in the engine compartment right now, and kind of back where the transmission is. But the problem here is the O2 sensor, this is upstream, so this would be, you know, your first one. This is the most important one. The other one back there doesn't matter so much, depending on your state you live in and the rules and whatnot. But if you live where I live, and it doesn't really matter, you can install these. And but I don't think I'm gonna want this Crankcase Evac system upstream, because that's gonna throw off that reading, right? Who cares about the downstream? But we wanna, so my plan is I was gonna cut just the bung out, right? And I got thinking, why don't I just do a decent cut, and then I'll just do a piece of pipe patch, just cut a decent patch. That way I'm welding flat, okay? And then this, I'll just cut a hole. I think I want to do it over here on the other side, because this truck I have leaf springs on. But anyway, on the other side, there's all kinds of room to work on the O2. I was gonna move it up here, so I think I'm just gonna put it on the other side there. So we'll see. I'm gonna get to cutting though. All right, so I crudely cut open a hole around that O2 sensor. Let's call this the O2 sensor bung. I kind of cut out a hole, right? Just took the thing out, cut a new hole with the plasma cutter, sat that down and welded it. I'll show you here in just a second. Just got the gas back hooked back up because just hooked the gas back up, but we're sticking through like we should, 1/2 inch. But I just took a piece of pipe, so that way the hole that I cut, I can just put this over that hole instead of trying to weld in between there while I'm under the truck. How about I just weld that on there first? So I'm going to weld the other one on, and we'll get this welded in place. Basically, I just cut around that. Just took the plasma cutter and the little piece fell in there. I just reached in with a magnet, pulled that out, cleaned up the burrs a little bit, but I left a little bit of material on there. That way I could put the O2 sensor in there and just go along the edge. And this was not done by me. Look at that. I paid money for that kind of welding. That wasn't mine. So if you think my welding's bad, this wasn't too bad here, but it looks like they stacked 2 bungs together. But anyway, we're gonna get this welded. That'll actually weld up pretty nice. And then this other piece, because you don't, like I said, you don't want this upstream. So we're moving this up. I'm hoping everything clears. I don't know if it will, but this is, like I said, I cut that little hole. You want to prep the metal as good as you can. But this way I have this. Ooh, can I hold that and the camera? So this way I can weld this area instead of trying to weld all up around the pipe. It's kind of difficult to do, so I just have more to weld now. All right, we are back. Now I've got this side cut out and welded in. I haven't cooked with gas in a while, but she burned all right for, not welding with gas. My O2 sensor, I went crazy, and I don't want anything to leak. It's way up where I can't get at too well, so made quite a few passes there. And over on this side, made a bunch of passes as well. But got the tube running up. That's gonna go to the valve covers, but we got it tucked to one side. And then this other one, I'm gonna run down out of the way and up. This is a little farther from the collector on this side than I would like, but I wanna make sure I can get at it, and I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to clear the bell housing. We should be good there, but we'll see. So now we're gonna get this transmission up in here and get after it. Also, while I was down here, I tidied up some wires, you know, to keep them up off the transmission. So anytime you can do stuff like that is real helpful. Just make it easier on yourself. I'm thinking about cutting these brackets cleaner, the old school independent front suspension brackets, but that's more work, so I don't even think I'm gonna do that.